Let's move into main topic number 2, shall we? And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Neil Anderson, who writes, No Pants Thursday.
Hey.
Hello, John and Erin. One of the movies coming that I'm really looking forward to is Red Notice. I don't know a lot about it, but I know it has Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. I rarely get excited about a movie because of the stars, but this one is an exception. I saw a group photo of them today marking the end of production. Are you looking forward to this, and do stars really draw an audience anymore? Thanks. All right, thanks a lot for sending in the question, man. And first of all, let's talk about this. Red Notice is the latest movie that was in production, got shut down because of the pandemic, was able to return to production, and has now wrapped. We're hearing about more and more of these movies that are being able to wrap up now. And yeah, Dwayne Johnson got on his social media the other day, and he put out this picture. And in the picture, he wrote, "The FBI profiler, the world's most wanted art thief, and the greatest con man the world has ever seen, also known as Deadpool, Wonder Woman, and Black Adam." That's an official wrap on our film, Red Notice. So it is done. It is wrapped. And obviously that little write-up that he just gave you gives you a little bit of an idea about what's going to be. This is going to be a Netflix original movie, action adventure. Now, on the one hand, I am a little bit skeptical about it because I love Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan.
Good Canadian kid.
Good Canadian kid. I love Ryan Reynolds, but he just did this big action film on Netflix called Six Underground. Mm-hmm. Was not good. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't anything wrong with Ryan's performance. Just the movie overall wasn't good. Had its moments, had some redeemable qualities, just wasn't all that good. So there's that. Number one, it is remarkable that a lot of these films were able, still in the midst of the pandemic, to come up with the right protocols, get back together, and finish their films. Jurassic World just finished their filming recently too. I mean, that's great. That is fantastic. I won't lie to you, the idea of seeing Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds together again, because they were together. My favorite scenes of Hobbs and Shaw were the scenes with Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson together. Those were my absolute, the chemistry between these two, the comedic chemistry was fantastic. I loved it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing them. And by the way, Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds are the two highest paid celebrities in Hollywood. They're the highest paid actors in Hollywood, number 1 and number 2. Look, it's hard not to be attracted to a movie when you hear Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, all in the same movie. That's impressive. Do the stars of a movie draw out the audience today? Not really, but there are extreme exceptions. Like, for the most part, having a known, recognized name in a movie, it's not so much about everybody will run out to see this movie if this person is in it. It's really more about having somebody the audience recognizes gives credibility to a movie. It's almost like when a movie tries to come out and an average audience member looks at a trailer or a poster and like, I don't know any of these people. It's almost like there's a disconnect in people's mind. Right. You at least got to have somebody in there that people recognize for the general audience member to go, oh, I should take this movie a little bit seriously. Doesn't mean they're going to run out and see it, but at least to them now it's a legitimate thing. But every once in a while, even Dwayne Johnson, who I think right now is the most bankable movie star in the world.
Yes.
Even you can't just put him in anything and expect it to make $800 million. Right. Like Rampage made way more money than it would have if anybody else was starring in it. But it's not like it made $700 million at the box office.
What was the movie that he did with Nev Campbell? Skyscraper?
Oh, the Skyscraper. Yeah. Again, not a huge hit. Not a great movie. It was fun. It was fun, but not a great movie.
Right. But I think there's also the assumption that someone, like I was just saying about Craig Mazin, if you have your pick of anything to do, which one would assume Dwayne Johnson does, one would assume that Dwayne Johnson can just go, I'm going to have access to the best scripts in Hollywood, and I'm going to choose, the top 2 or 3 that I'm going to work on over the next couple of years. One assumes those are the best projects that are out there and available. So it's sort of like, I just kind of go, all right, well, if you're in it, then clearly this had to go through a lot of filters. It's probably not going to be a garbage movie, but that's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a garbage movie with a really nice paycheck, and that's all it takes.
Well, yeah, and these are the two highest paid guys in Hollywood. I am not so convinced it won't be garbage because it's going to Netflix. Now, and again, there have been a couple, even just this year, there have been a couple exceptions.
Trial of the Chicago 7
is my favorite movie of the year right now. I love Charlize Theron's Old Guard. I love that movie. I thought it was 1,000 times better than that Chris Hemsworth garbage Extraction. And I know a lot of people like it. I don't know what the hell you guys are watching, but hey, that's why all films are subjective. I thought it was terrible. Anyway, but Old Guard was great. It's still about a 20-to-1 ratio of every one good Netflix original movie. There's like 20 bad ones. So I just can't get terribly excited about it, even though I love Dwayne Johnson. I love Ryan Reynolds. It's a huge cast. You put in Gal Gadot, who's a big star with them right now. I mean, it's an impressive collective.
Well, I think that, going back to the original question of do stars draw people in, I was thinking about this last night, and for me, it's not necessarily an individual star. I can't think of anybody offhand that if someone says, oh, this person is in this movie, that I'm going to go, oh my gosh, well, I have to see it because it must be good. But when it comes to buddy comedies or just buddies any two actors who have great chemistry with one another, that's something that people latch onto, that people get familiar with, because then it's not just this actor put into a very random scenario where that actor might be taking on a completely different persona that we don't like we don't like to see that actor in. You know what I mean? Like speaking of Tom Cruise from earlier, people like to see Tom Cruise doing a certain Tom Cruise thing, but then when he tries to go outside of that, it gets mixed reviews. So with Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson having established that wonderful chemistry between the two of them, it reminds me of Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
And going back to Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, or Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, like if I see certain two names together, I go, oh, I know what the relationship is going to be. I know what the dynamic is going to be.
Yeah.
And I love Tina Fey. If somebody says, oh, this is a Tina Fey movie, I'm probably going to go, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm interested.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
But if it's Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, I go, oh my gosh, I know what I'm getting into, and I'm already my foot's already in the door, because I feel like almost I'm visiting old friends. I mean, everybody's got those buddies that when you hang out with
Ferrell,
them.
John C. Reilly.
Exactly. When you hang out with them, they're just going to, you can just sit back and watch and, open a beer and be like, I'm just going to sit here and watch the two of you just go at it and, have fun. That's how I feel.
It sounds like you're watching porn. But anyway, yes, please continue.
I mean, hey, you don't know the kind of friends I have. And so that's how I feel when I think about, Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson, coming together. And with Gal Gadot, I haven't seen a lot of her work outside of Wonder Woman. I know that she's done other things, but I'm glad that she is doing other projects that show her range beyond Wonder Woman. I think it's really important for an actor or an actress, because let's face it, the only thing people really knew her from at all was the Fast and the Furious movies. And so for her to have such a huge role as Wonder Woman, that could be very limiting. So I think it's great for her that she is branching out and doing other projects.
We've got Death on the Nile coming, which she's also in. And I know you're not a huge fan. I am not a big fan. Actually, well, let me say this. I've become more and more of a fan of her personality. Like when DC Fandom happened, and they had the whole Wonder Woman virtual panel, the person who stole the show on that panel was Gal Gadot. I mean, she was great. I remember saying, if I was a producer and I wanted a performer who could really go out there and sell my movie, it would be her. She's definitely very intriguing and engaging. So much more so than she does on screen. So much. But I also believe she has been getting incrementally better, which is what you want to see. Like I compare it all the time to Channing Tatum, because for the longest time I thought Channing Tatum was the absolute worst actor in Hollywood getting consistent work. But he kept working and he got better and better and better. Now I really look forward to Channing Tatum being in movies. And so I'm very curious to see how Gal, number one, does in a movie like Death on the Nile, which she gets to work with an incredible director in Kenneth Branagh, and then see her do something, a lighter fare kind of actiony thing, opposite two very strong personalities in Ryan Reynolds. And so it's going to be interesting to see how she's continued her development, you know?
Yeah,
so
because you look at someone else like a January Jones who became
great example.
Very well known with Mad Men, even being nominated for an Emmy. And then when she went to do other projects, you know, fill in the blank.
All right.
I won't say anything.
All right, guys. With that said, guys, what do you think about this whole thing? They've wrapped Red Notice. Are you looking forward to it? Does the name on the marquee, does the name of the actors in a movie, is that what draws you to films these days? Jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.